America, we are weeks away from one of the most crucial elections in our history. And the Democrat nominee, Kamala Harris, has finally emerged for her first solo network interview. But instead of a robust discussion of her vision for America, we got a carefully orchestrated softball session from MSNBC's Stephanie Ruhle. Even with kid glove treatment, Harris manages to fumble key issues. The fate of our nation hanging in the balance. Is this really the best the Democrats can offer? Buckle up, folks. This pre-election disaster is one for the history books. And just as Kamala Harris' interview performance shows signs of political aging, your skin might be revealing your own age, but unlike political missteps, we can combat aging effectively. After 20, your body produces 12% less collagen each decade, leading to wrinkles and sagging, much like how repeated gaffes can age your political career. Our collagen supplement combines 5 critical types of skin health, potentially reducing visible signs of aging faster than a politician can backtrack on a statement. Well, we can't promise to improve VP interviews. We can help you look younger. Get 51% off at healthwithgary.com, plus free coaching, an ebook, and more. Rejuvenate your skin, even if you can't rejuvenate the administration. So, she hasn't done any press conferences. She did a interview with Training Wheels a couple weeks ago. She did another local interview that was heavily edited when it was published. And now we've got this. Charlie Kirk. The fact that Kamala Harris is doing her first solo network interview since being installed as the Democrat nominee is headline news. Is completely insane. Stephanie Ruhle from far-left MSNBC interviewing her in Pittsburgh. Reporting from Axios confirms that the Harris-Walz campaign has given fewer interviews than any candidate in modern history. Kamala has yet to hold a single press conference. Kamala Harris announces first solo network interview since Democratic nomination. First one. The first one. Charlie Kirk also weighing in that Ruhle is a Kamala apologist. It's not really a network interview. It's a pro-Kamala propaganda piece. Ruhle joined comedian Bill Maher on his show on Friday and rushed to defend the vice president after Bill Maher and anti-Trump New York Times columnist Brett Stevens suggested that Harris needed to be more specific in her interviews. Kamala Harris is not running for perfect. She's running against Trump. We have 2 choices, and so there are some things you might not know her answer to. I would have played that clip, but we would have got a ding for it. I got clips from the interview too, but I should preface this whole thing. This is I think this is so funny what you're about to see. Just listen to inflation. Stephanie Ruhle. Listen to Stephanie Ruhle.
And one could watch that and say, well, she didn't give a clear, direct answer. That's okay, because we are not talking about clear or direct issues.
Did you hear that? Holy cow.
And one could watch that and say, well, she didn't give a clear, direct answer. That's okay, because we are not talking about clear or direct issues.
That is the funniest thing I've ever heard in my life. One could watch it and say she didn't give a clear and direct answer, and that's okay. That's okay. Because we're not talking about clear and direct issues. Okay, well, I think she asked some pretty clear and direct questions. So that's her defending the interview, defending Kamala Harris after the fact. Because she knew it was a freaking disaster. And she's already running cover post-interview. Here, Ultra MAGA, Brendan Dilley. Can we trust you is the question. She verbally answers yes while shaking her head no repeatedly. Subconsciously, Kamala is telling the truth by shaking her head. Listen.
The needs of the people. Can we trust you? Yes. Yes. I am not perfect, but I will tell you, I'm always going to put the needs of the people first. Can we trust you?
Can we trust you? No, shakes her head. Excuse me. Oh, my goodness. Harris interviewed today by the great Stephanie Ruhle on MSNBC. That was Peter Baker making that tweet. And I said, oh, well, can't wait to see the edit, buddy. Trump War Room posting this after ripping President Trump on tariffs. Kamala Harris pretends she cares about American manufacturing. Her plan would punish domestic production and reward companies that ship jobs overseas.
So which is more important? It's most important that we maintain America's ability to have American manufacturing of steel by American workers for a number of reasons, which includes, again, back to the point of growing our economy and how I think about the economy overall, investing in new industries. There is not a new industry that I can imagine that is not going to require steel as a manufacturing of steel as a fundamental part of what it accomplishes. And having American workers in an American company manufacturing that steel for those new industries is going to be critically important, not only in terms of our economy, but also in the context of national security. Most people now realize if we didn't before the pandemic and the strain on supply chains and an over-reliance on foreign manufacturing, that we have to be intentional about U.S.-based manufacturing. And of the products that we have to prioritize, steel is one of them. And that's always going to be my priority.
Oh, sure. Whatever you said. Here's more. Kamala fails to explain how she plans to tackle price gouging without implementing price controls. That's exactly what her plan is, Venezuelan-style price controls.
After prices are still high.
Yeah, I agree with you.
You said you want to take this on by going after those who engage in price gouging.
Yeah.
But as somebody who supports free markets, who's a capitalist, how do you go after price gouging without implementing price controls? Because once we get in this zone, people start to get worried and they say, I don't know what.
I mean, her reaction, like, oh my goodness, I'm getting asked a really difficult question.
Stands for.
So just to be very frank, I am never going to apologize for going after companies and corporations that take advantage of the desperation of the American people. And as Attorney General, I saw this happen. In the midst of an emergency, whether it be an extreme weather event or even the pandemic, we saw it, where those few companies, not the majority, not most, but those few companies that would take advantage of the desperation of people and jack up prices. Yeah, I'm going to go after them. Yes, I'm going to go after them. And that is part of a much more comprehensive plan on what we can do to bring down the cost of living, including housing, including the everyday needs of the American people.
Okay, so let me try to understand what she's saying here. She talks about isolated incidents like the pandemic or a natural disaster where the demand for items skyrockets. And along with demand, prices go up. That's capitalism. Yes, people might be taking advantage of those situations, but those items may be fewer and scarcer, increasing their value. So she's listing off just two, isolated incidents. And she's going to tackle that to bring down prices everywhere? Yeah, makes no sense at all. But of course, remember,
work. And one could watch that and say, well, she didn't give a clear, direct answer. That's okay, because we are not talking about clear or direct issues.
Yeah, remember that as we play all these clips. Oh, she said, I guess she was confronted as well on if she ever worked at McDonald's. Remember that lie she told? And McDonald's said she never worked there?
Your opponent, the first one, just a fact check. Okay. Because your opponent
there is
almost
no little
every
job.
day. Okay,
there's no such thing as a little job.
Okay, fair. Because your opponent almost every day seems to be talking about this. So I just want to ask you yes or no. At any point in your life, have you served 2 all-beef patties, special sauce, lettuce, cheese, pickles, onions, on a sesame seed bun, working out at McDonald's? Yes or no? That's it.
I have.
Okay. Now the other job. But
it was not a small job. Like, I did the fries. I mean, yes, but I did.
The first
she worked
one,
the fries.
just a fact.
She was on the fries.
And this gets crazy.
Check. Because you're...
Oh, yeah. But of course, remember.
Question about work, and one could watch that and say, well, she didn't give a clear, direct answer. That's okay, because we are not talking about clear or direct issues.
Yeah, like if you worked at McDonald's or not. Okay, here's another one. Kamala's biggest gut decision in recent memory. Ready for this?
Yeah, probably the biggest gut decision I've made most recently is to choose my running mate. Yeah.
Oh.
There were lots of good, incredible candidates. And ultimately that came down to a gut decision.
Yeah, I'm sure that it was all her decision. I'm sure there were dozens of people who were telling her what to decide. In the span of 90 seconds, border czar Kamala claims she suddenly cares about illegal immigration, blamed Trump for not supporting a bill, and called for mass amnesty.
There are people there that are stressed, that feel that they're at capacity. Communities around the country that have legal immigration, many have said, we're at capacity. And many feel like the government has said to them, well, adapt, sit down, be quiet. This is how it is. What would a Harris administration do for those communities who've taken in many, many legal immigrants but are at capacity?
Well, first of all, we do have a broken immigration system, and it needs to be fixed. And if we take a step back, months ago, some of the most conservative members of the United States Congress came together with others, proposed a border security bill. That would have put 1,500 new border agents on the border to help those hardworking border agents who are there right now working around the clock. Would have put more money into stemming the flow of fentanyl, which is killing Americans around our country and devastating communities. Would have put more resources into our ability to prosecute transnational criminal organizations, which in my career I've prosecuted. Donald Trump got word of the bill, realized it was going to fix a problem he wanted to run on, and told him to kill the bill, don't put it up for a vote. He killed a bill that would have actually been a solution because he wants to run on a problem instead of fixing a problem. And that's part of what needs to be addressed. And my pledge is that when elected president, if the American people will have me, I will bring that bill back and I will sign it into law. And we need a comprehensive plan that includes what we need to do to fortify not only our border, but deal with the fact that we also need to create pathways for people to earn citizenship.
Oh, yeah. So they can vote. That's what it comes down to, folks. You know that. Here's another one. Getting some pushback from Trump's senior advisor. And we got J.D. Vance, pardon me, reacting as well. Listen to this.
You just laid out your economic vision for the future.
Yeah.
But still, there are lots of Americans who don't see themselves in your plans. For those who say these policies aren't for me, what do you say to them?
Well, if you are hardworking, if you have the dreams and the ambitions and the aspirations of what I believe you do, you're in my plan. You know, I have to tell you, I really love and am so energized by what I know to be the spirit and character of the American people. We have ambition. We have aspirations. We have dreams.
Dreams.
We can see what's possible. We have an incredible work ethic. But not everyone has the access to the opportunities that allow them to achieve those things. But we don't lack for those things. But not everyone, gets handed stuff on a silver platter. And so my vision for the economy, I call it an opportunity economy, is about making sure that all Americans, wherever they start, wherever they are, have the ability to actually achieve those dreams and those ambitions, which include, for middle-class families, just being able to know that their hard work allows them to get ahead, right?
Yeah.
I think we can't and we shouldn't aspire to have an economy that just allows people to get by. People want to do more than just get by. They want to get ahead.
Yeah. She said nothing there. Nothing at all. Let's hear how the Trump senior advisor is reacting.
She said that, all you hear about Kamala Harris talking about is the fact that, I grew up in a middle-class family. And I thought it was interesting, Kelly Meyer there, the last report we heard right before you came to me, she said that Kamala Harris was expected to lay out her economic vision today, but people didn't hear any of those details. And let me tell you, Kamala Harris, I don't know how many times she thinks she can get away with this. You can't tell the media, hey, I'm making a big economic speech, and then all you do is you go out and you roll out the same old platitudes that everybody's already heard before. What's happening here is Kamala Harris knows that she's on the ropes. She's going to the border on Friday. All that's going to do is highlight the fact that every American knows that she did not do her job in protecting the border. She gave what was supposed to be an economic speech today, and all she did was roll through the same old things that everybody's already heard before. There's no economic plan. She knows she's losing. She knows that Donald Trump is driving the conversation on the economy. He's been in Georgia and North Carolina and Pennsylvania. He'll be in Michigan on Friday talking about auto workers. The economy and inflation are a disaster. It's on Kamala Harris's watch. She said it right there. We know we have to move away from failed policies. She's talking about herself.
Yeah, she is talking about herself. Let's see how J.D. Vance reacted here.
The world, Kamala Harris is why we have sky-high inflation. Kamala Harris is why you can't afford groceries or housing. Kamala Harris is why the world is at war right now in nearly every single continent. Kamala Harris is why the border is wide open. And Kamala Harris, you want a promotion, but the message from Michigan is you're fired. Go back to San Francisco where you belong.
Go packing to San Francisco. And I think one of the best parts is everyone was mocking her for learning a new word. Again, it's a buzzword. She's throwing out more buzzwords.
Some of the work is going to be through what we do in terms of giving benefits and assistance to state and local governments around transit dollars. And looking holistically at the connection between that and housing. And looking holistically at the incentives we in the federal government can create for local and state governments to actually engage in planning in a holistic manner that includes prioritizing affordable housing for working people.
Holistic. Yes, Kamala has learned a new word today. So just throwing out platitudes and buzzwords, and again, I just throw it back to this. This tells you everything you need to know about the interview before even watching it. That Stephanie Ruhle already defending her post.
And one could watch that and say, well, she didn't give a clear, direct answer. That's okay, because we are not talking about clear or direct issues.
So there you have it, folks. With weeks until Election Day, this is the caliber of leadership the Democrats are offering. But here is what I want to know from you. Is Harris's performance a reflection of her readiness for the presidency or a symptom of a larger problem within the Democrat Party? And how might this impact the upcoming election? Share your thoughts in the comments below. Remember, your voice doesn't just matter in the voting booth. It matters right here, right now. Stay engaged and stay informed.